There's a silent error that prevents millions of people from manifesting their desires, and what's most curious is that most don't even realize they're making this mistake every day. I've made it myself. I lived for years believing my results were a consequence of the world around me, a lack of opportunities, my limited education, a tough past, and even sheer bad luck. And perhaps you felt it too, that sensation of working hard, putting in the effort, thinking positively, yet opportunities just don't seem to respond in kind. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to constantly elevate their lives while others merely survive regardless of their effort? That answer is linked to what I call the silent error, and it's far more common than you'd imagine. From an early age, we're conditioned to believe that reality is something that simply happens to us. Perhaps you've heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, no one gets rich honestly, or you have to suffer to succeed in life. These phrases become the lens through which we view the world, but the most troubling part is that they become the lens through which we view ourselves. The silent error begins exactly there. Most people try to change their results without first changing their self-image, and that's like trying to build a 30-story house on a fragile foundation. The house might rise a few feet, but sooner or later it will collapse. How many times have you started a project with boundless enthusiasm, only to find yourself demotivated and disheartened after a few weeks or months, feeling like something always seems to pull you back to the same spot? It's not bad luck, it's not destiny, it's not a lack of ability, it's self-image, it's the internal limit that you, unknowingly, programmed into your mind. I had to realize this firsthand. After dropping out of school and taking on simple dead-end jobs, I had no ambition, no goals, no dreams, nothing. I simply existed. I remember one day at the fire department, looking at life and thinking, is this it? Spend decades living just to pay bills and merely exist. And perhaps you felt this too, that quiet despair of knowing you were born for something greater, but having no idea how to get there. It was during that period that I came across a book that completely changed my direction. But more than the book, what truly changed everything was my finally understanding that I had become a direct product of my own mind. If I wanted a new future, I would have to create a new identity. And most people don't understand this simple truth. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you deserve. And that changes everything. Science already confirms this. Current research in positive psychology, financial behavior, and emotional well-being shows that people with a strengthened self-image tend to take more risks, persist longer, see opportunities others miss, and turn failures into stepping stones. Conversely, people who, despite desiring grand things, see themselves as small or insignificant, unknowingly sabotage their own results. That's why so many people start a change with enthusiasm, a diet, a new job, studies, new financial habits, but end up returning to the same point. It's not a lack of willpower, it's mental programming. Ask yourself, how many times have you known exactly what you needed to do, but simply didn't? How many times have you avoided an opportunity for fear of not being good enough? How many times have you postponed a dream because the timing never seemed perfect? I used to believe that time, the market, the economy, a lack of education or connections were my barriers. But over time, I discovered something powerful. All of that was secondary. The real barrier was within me. The silent error that prevents many people from manifesting their desires is believing that positive thinking alone will fix things. It won't. You only change your life when you change your mental identity. You need to align your thoughts, your feelings, and your self-image with the results you desire. It's not about saying, I want prosperity. It's about you becoming the person who lives and breathes prosperity even before it arrives. And if you've been stuck in the same pattern for years, don't worry, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It merely means you're trying to build a new life with old beliefs. And that never works. Today I want you to start by reflecting on a single question. Who do you truly believe you are? Not what you tell others, but what you feel when you're alone. The answer to that question determines where your life is now and where it's headed. Because as long as you don't see yourself as worthy, capable, and deserving, life won't be able to deliver what you desire. And this applies to money, relationships, health, success, and purpose. It all starts within. Now that you've understood this principle, We can go deeper, and when we begin to explore this step by step, you'll clearly see why your results until today have been the exact reflection of what you felt about yourself, even if you never realized it. When I started to understand that my results weren't a product of the world, but of my internal world, everything changed. But before this turning point, I did the same thing most people still do. I tried to improve my life by simply increasing physical effort, working longer hours, doing more tasks, striving to be productive, trying to please everyone, or seeking external recognition to finally feel worthy. But that is the silent error in action. When a person believes they are incapable, worthless, or undeserving, they can exert themselves all day long and still won't be able to surpass the internal ceiling that exists within them. Perhaps you've lived this. You work, study, strive, but it always feels like something is holding back true progress. You earn a little more and quickly lose it. You start a business, and it never takes off. You create a plan, and it stays on paper. This doesn't happen because you don't know what to do, but because you are still behaving with the self-image of the past, and no one can build a different future with an old identity. It's common for many people to feel frustrated with time, with their age, with the money they don't yet have, with missed opportunities, and think, if only I had started earlier, if only I had better connections, if only I had more education. But this type of thinking creates a dangerous emotional cycle, a cycle where you convince yourself that the power always lies externally. And when you believe that the power is outside of you, you become a victim of circumstances. This is the invisible prison that keeps talented, intelligent, and hardworking individuals trapped in an ordinary life, even though they have everything needed to prosper. Psychologists and behavioral studies show that people who take internal responsibility for their results are far more likely to become leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Meanwhile, those who believe that destiny is in the hands of others tend to maintain stable yet mediocre lives because they don't believe they can change direction. And look, it's not that these people lack potential. They just haven't been taught how to use it. I was once that person. When I was at the fire department, earning a modest income with no real expectations for growth, I looked at my own life and almost believed that was my ultimate destiny. And perhaps you're experiencing something similar now. Working in a place where you feel you aren't using even 10% of your potential, with the ability for so much more, but without seeing where to go. And that's when the silent error appears disguised. It convinces us that it's safer to stay where we are. It convinces us that it's not yet the right time to try something big. And the most tragic part is that when you think this way, you're training your mind to believe you aren't capable, even if, deep down, you are. I remember exactly the first time I decided to challenge that belief. With little money, no experience, and no formal training, I simply decided it was time to change. I left the fire department and started a cleaning service. It was a complete shock for my family, acquaintances, and even myself. But it was in that moment that I understood something fundamental. When you decide to change your identity, the universe starts to move with you. In my first year, even without knowing almost anything about business, I was able to earn over $50,000. This didn't happen because I had technical knowledge. It happened because I finally saw myself as capable, deserving, and destined for something greater. People would ask me, how did you do that? And the answer was always the same. I changed on the inside before changing on the outside. Let me ask you a question now. Do you truly believe you deserve to live the life you desire? Don't answer quickly. Feel the answer. Because if a part of you still doubts, even a very small part, that's the part holding everything back. Life doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate. And that vibration is determined by your self-image. That's why some people invest in courses, training, and strategies, and nothing changes. Because the truth is simple. If you don't see yourself as someone capable of handling money, healthy relationships, success, or high performance, your mind will create situations to confirm your old pattern. How many people do you know who earned more and then quickly returned to the same level? Athletes, celebrities, high-earning professionals. Many reach the top and then lose it all. Not because they lacked talent, but because their identity never matched the outcome. A painful example of this is Mike Tyson, one of history's greatest boxers who, despite a brilliant career and a fortune worth millions of dollars, lost virtually everything. The reason? They hadn't developed an emotional identity strong enough to sustain the lifestyle they had achieved. When the mind can't cope with wealth, people unconsciously dismantle it. You've probably seen this happen to someone. Before we go on, I need to ask you something important. If what I'm saying so far resonates with you, if it's making sense in your life, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You have no idea what a difference this simple gesture makes. It signals to YouTube that this content is relevant and helps this message reach others who might be going through a similar situation. This kind of teaching changed my life, and I believe it can change the lives of many people who have never received this knowledge before. Now I want to propose a small challenge for you. For the next 3 days, observe your thoughts and notice how many times you put yourself down, hold yourself back, tell yourself that something is difficult, impossible, or out of reach. Pay close attention to this, because conscious awareness is the first step to breaking this cycle. You can't change what you don't yet see. And now that we're starting to shed light on this inner structure, in the next part, I'll show you how to reprogram this self-image, how to replace limiting beliefs with beliefs that truly propel your life forward, and how ordinary people are doing this today to build extraordinary lives, including people you know and follow. Now that you've started to identify the silent error and recognize that your external reality is merely a reflection of what you believe internally, we need to move on to the step that changes everything: reprogramming your self-image. This doesn't mean repeating empty affirmations or trying to convince yourself with just motivational phrases. It means rebuilding the mental foundation upon which your life is constructed. And that starts with understanding. You will never look at yourself the same way again. Once you grasp that what you are manifesting today isn't the result of your desires, but of your mental conditioning. People taught from an early age to believe they are capable, strong, and able to learn what's necessary, naturally grow up with a sense of possibility. In contrast, those who heard constant criticism, limitations, phrases like "that's not for you," "don't dream too big," or "be realistic," grow up with a narrow view of what they can achieve. And look, no one even needs to say these things to you out loud these days. You automatically tell yourself when you think you aren't capable of something. The most important thing to understand is that your subconscious isn't formed by what you desire, but by what you repeat with emotion. All the fears, insecurities, inhibitions, blocks, and limitations you experience today didn't come about because you were born with them, but because they were gradually installed throughout your life. And what does that mean? It means you can undo, replace, and reprogram these beliefs too. Neuroscience has already proven something extraordinary. Our brain isn't fixed, it's malleable. And phenomena like neuroplasticity clearly show that new thought patterns, when repeated with intensity and consistency, create new neural networks, new interpretations, and consequently, new behaviors and real-life results. Science confirms what I've been sharing with thousands of people for decades. You are not condemned by what you've learned. You can completely reinvent yourself. But how do you apply this practically? I'll give you simple examples that can apply to most people today. Let's say someone grew up believing that money is hard to come by, that it only comes with suffering. This person might get a raise at work and yet quickly spend it all, take on debt, invest poorly, and get involved in problematic financial situations. It's not bad luck. It's the subconscious adjusting life back to the comfort level the person believes they deserve. Imagine another person who dreams of entrepreneurship, but when they think about starting their own business, fear creeps in. What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose money? What if I fail? This isn't fear of the real world. It's fear based on past emotional experiences. It's the subconscious protecting the person from what it interprets as danger, even if that danger is just positive change. Similarly, think about relationships. Someone who grew up hearing that love hurts, that no one is trustworthy, that everyone leaves, will create relationships filled with fear, distrust, and anxiety, and will often push away precisely what they most wanted to have. Do you see the pattern? Life doesn't respond to your desires, it responds to your programming. Now I want to show you a public example of someone who changed their own reality by understanding this principle, Jim Carrey. Before becoming one of the biggest names in global comedy, he was poor, worked simple jobs, and his family was struggling. But he did something that seemed crazy at the time. He wrote himself a check for $10 million and kept it in his wallet, visualizing that reality as already his own. He didn't just do this visualization. Every day, he mentally built the identity of the man who would be capable of earning that amount. Years later, he received a contract for exactly that value when he starred in the movie Dumb and Dumber. This isn't a coincidence. This is alignment between internal identity and external reality. What I want you to understand is that there are no miracles. There is only alignment. When you change your self-image, your mind starts to see opportunities that were previously invisible. You begin to act differently, think differently, communicate differently, and all of this shifts your emotional responses to life. And this is important because people often believe that success is something that happens quickly, like a sudden breakthrough. But in most cases, real change begins with small internal adjustments, a new thought, a new belief, a new mental habit, which then accumulate until they become physical results. Science confirms this too. Research shows that people who make small, consistent changes in mindset and behavior are far more likely to create real transformations than those who try to change everything at once and can't maintain the pace. But how do you reprogram this self-image? I'm going to give you a simple yet powerful exercise. For the next 7 days, every day before you go to sleep, answer the following question in writing. Who do I need to become to live the life I want? Don't write what you need to do. Write who you need to be, because it's identity that defines action, not the other way around. People who see themselves as winners act like winners, even before they win. People who see themselves as leaders lead before they are recognized. People who see themselves as successful behave as successful before the money appears. This is the movement that transforms. And when you start writing every day, your mind will begin to absorb, reconnect, and reorganize your internal emotional pattern. And this isn't theory, this is practice. Now honestly ask yourself, how many opportunities have you missed because you still saw yourself as less than you truly are? How many doors could have opened if you had believed in yourself earlier? That question might sting a bit, but it also liberates. Because the good news is, if you've made it this far, you've already started to awaken. In the next part, we'll dive deeper and connect this to how your emotional vibration shapes your frequency of results, and you'll understand why some people prosper even when everything seems unfavorable, while others get stuck even when extraordinary chances are in their hands. Now we need to talk about something many people are unaware of, but which directly determines the quality of the results you manifest: your emotional vibration. You can have the best plan, the best strategy, the best schedule, but if your vibration is misaligned, you will attract obstacles, delays, self-sabotage, and unsatisfactory results. Many people believe the law of attraction is merely positive thinking, but this is a misconception. If the thought is positive yet the emotion is negative, such as fear, insecurity, anxiety, a belief of unworthiness, then the vibration you send out to the universe is negative, and life responds to vibration, not desire. That's why so many people desire prosperity, but vibrate scarcity. They desire love, but vibrate fear. They desire opportunities, but vibrate doubt. And perhaps you've already experienced this. You know you could achieve more. You know you have potential, but your mind insists on sabotaging the process with thoughts like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I lose? What if I can't do it? The problem isn't with the desire itself. It's with the emotional tone that accompanies that desire. When I began studying personal development, something caught my attention. People who manifested extraordinary results had one thing in common. They vibrated before living. They felt before seeing. They mentally positioned themselves as someone who had already achieved what they were seeking. This is powerful because the brain can't differentiate a real experience from a vividly emotional experience. That's why Olympic athletes train mentally before entering the arena. Studies show that an athlete's brain, visualizing a race, activates the same neural regions as when they physically run. The same holds true for any area of life. When you visualize with clarity and emotion, Your mind immediately begins to forge paths to turn what you've imagined into reality. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. And when you do this consistently, your body and mind align with your desired future. You stop emitting a vibration of lack and start emitting one of presence. But why do so many people struggle to do this consistently? Because they carry accumulated emotions from the past. Fear doesn't originate from the future. It stems from old memories. Guilt comes from past experiences. Shame arises from comparisons, rejections, and criticisms that have been held onto. The emotional vibration of a large portion of the population isn't determined by what they want, but by what they haven't yet managed to overcome. How many people do you know who can't open a new door because they're still stuck on an old one? How many people carry resentments, hurts, defeats, frustrations, and allow these past experiences to become the emotional filter through which they view life? This is far more common than you might imagine. Even incredibly wealthy, famous, successful, and admired individuals experience this. Britney Spears is a clear example. She achieved global fame, recognition, power, and visibility, yet her emotional life was in profound disharmony. The result was a public collapse that impacted her career, her financial control, and even her personal freedom for many years. This demonstrates an undeniable truth. Your external environment will never outweigh your internal state. You can conquer the world, but if you don't conquer yourself, the world will slip away. So how do you change this emotional vibration? You need to understand a simple rule. Thoughts generate images. Images generate emotions. Emotions define vibrations, and vibrations determine results. It's a chain. It's no use trying to control only what you feel without controlling what you think. And it's no use trying to control what you think without learning to create mental images that support this new reality. Here's a powerful exercise that anyone can apply, anywhere. For the next 7 days, every day when you wake up, before looking at your phone, before connecting to the external world, close your eyes and visualize for 2 minutes the version of yourself that is already living the desired outcome. See this person entering a room with confidence. See this person organizing their finances with clarity. See this person embracing opportunities that once would have caused fear. Feel how this person breathes, how they walk, how they carry themselves. Because once you begin to embody a new identity, your brain starts to record new neural patterns. And if you consistently sustain this emotion, your vibration will begin to shift. Ordinary people achieve this every day, often without even realizing it. Consider the example of someone who sought a career change. When they finally see themselves as strong, capable, and deserving, they begin to behave accordingly. And suddenly, opportunities appear that were there all along but which they couldn't see before. Now imagine this applied to your financial life. Studies on financial behavior show that people who feel confident about money find it easier to save, invest, negotiate, ask for raises, pursue opportunities, and take calculated risks. Meanwhile, people who feel fear, shame, guilt, or inadequacy tend to sabotage their finances even when they earn more. This demonstrates that prosperity is not a number. Prosperity is an emotional state that leads to better decisions, and better decisions lead to better results. And perhaps you're asking yourself, but what if I don't have the results yet to sustain this new vibration? Then you need to understand something essential. You don't change by vibrating what you have. You change by vibrating what you desire. Someone with limited financial resources can vibrate scarcity, or they can vibrate creation. Someone embarking on a dream can vibrate doubt, or they can vibrate certainty. The difference isn't in the world, it's in the mind. And to help you accelerate this transformation, I'm going to give you a new challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever you notice a negative emotion arising, fear, frustration, discouragement, pause for 10 seconds and take 3 slow, deep breaths. This simple act sends a clear message to your nervous system. I am in control. It seems simple, but it begins to break the automatic pattern that keeps you tethered to the past. And now that your mind has begun to absorb this new understanding, in the next part we will delve into something even more profound: how to consciously create a new destiny, uniting intention, action, emotion, and internal alignment. You'll understand why some people manage to transform years of pain into an extraordinary life, and why others remain stuck in the same place despite having resources, opportunities, and capability. As you begin to understand that everything you desire already exists in potential, a new level of confidence will awaken within you. Most people don't fail due to a lack of capability, but rather a lack of awareness of the power they possess. They look outward, trying to change external circumstances, without realizing that the true cause always lies within them. The law of attraction responds to who you are internally, not to what you say you want. It's not enough to desire prosperity while you feel scarcity. It's no use dreaming of success while you perceive yourself as small. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the vibration you consistently maintain through your thoughts, feelings, and mental images. When you finally grasp this, you start to become purposeful. You stop moving as someone who reacts and begin to move as someone who creates. You decide what you want, choose the corresponding mental image, and start acting as if it's already yours. This simple yet powerful technique is one of the keys to everything, living now as the person who has already achieved what you desire. Do you want to attract wealth? Then observe your attitudes. How do you talk about money? How do you feel when you pay a bill? How do you react to the success of others? These small emotional responses are the thermometer of your current vibration. If there's discomfort, resentment, fear, or scarcity, that's okay. But it's also a warning. That's what you're emitting, and therefore that's what you're attracting. Changing your reality begins with changing your emotional pattern, and your emotional pattern shifts when you change the focus of your mind. Feel rich before the money arrives. Feel confident before the opportunity appears. Feel loved before the person materializes. It's counterintuitive for many, but this is how it works, how it has always worked, and how it always will work. A new life begins when you choose to live from vision, not from appearances. With this, you begin to operate on a new level of consciousness, where cause and effect cease to be a mystery and become a tool. You become a co-creator of your reality. And when this awareness starts working in your favor, everything changes. Nothing seems too distant, too impossible, or too grand anymore. You understand that life has always been responding to who you are, not just to what you desire. And now that you know this, you can choose to vibrate at a new frequency, act on a new level, and walk with a new demeanor toward the reality you are building every single day. Perhaps someone you know also needs to hear this right now. Someone who is fighting this same silent battle against themselves. Someone who just needs a turning point like this to change the entire course of their life. Share this video with that special person and help carry this transformation forward. We'll see you in the next step of the journey.